This is Golden Top Village, and this is Old Valoon. Notice anything? Besides the small forest I built, there's barely a tree in sight. It looks dry, empty, and honestly kind of sad. So today I'm fixing that. Golden Top was my first real build in this world, my cozy little starter village. But now that Old Valoon has grown into a much more detailed, developed area, Golden Top's starting to look a little out of place. The terrain feels rough, the paths are uneven, and the buildings? They just don't blend in anymore. So the plan is simple. I'm rebuilding Golden Top from the ground up. Of course, the first thing to do was to start tearing things down. Some of these old buildings just don't hold up anymore. I'm keeping this bell tower though. It was the first thing I built in this world, so it's kind of special. But the apiary and the honeycomb farm? Yeah, those have to go. The honeycomb farm's in this awkward little spot that never really made sense, right between paths and too close to the village edge. And the apiary, honestly, it was never even finished. It was supposed to be an actual bee farm, but somehow ended up as a villager breeder instead. On top of that, the whole thing just doesn't even match the rest of the build style for the area. The colors are off because I used yellow glass instead of orange, and I used stripped logs instead of actual spruce logs, so it all feels out of place. Before I started all of that though, Griffin called me over for something we like to call a fortune duel. Basically, we split a pile of ores, diamond, redstone, whatever we've got, and see who can get the most out of it with fortune. Simple, right? Whoever gets the most wins. Wins what exactly? I don't know. Bragging rights? Eternal glory? Maybe just the satisfaction of being luckier? Either way, it's fun, and it's a good excuse to procrastinate before I start tearing half the village down. I also recorded this bit with the wrong mic, so be warned about that. I'm gonna win. I'm totally gonna win.
Alright, and I'll do it this way.
Oh, you're just being boring with it, aren't you?
I'm doing the hold left and right click thing. I saw you do it.
Boring.
I like
I'm
it.
going.
Also, if you're not looking at the right spot, it kind of does that.
You messed it up so bad. You have some behind you. Like, you have some everywhere.
They went all over the place.
Alright, how many did you get?
53.
Fuck.
How many?
51.
51. Oh, that's close. Okay.
Procrastination over with and my ego severely damaged, it was finally time to get started. First order of business was clearing out the farmland where I wanted to terraform. It looked nice, but I wanted to reshape the land to add more cliffs and to make it more cohesive with the passageway I made between my area and Griffin's. Then came the villagers. I may have gotten a little creative with that part. Using a happy gas, I airlifted them to a safe spot nearby. It worked. Mostly. They're fine, probably, in Griffin's attic. And this guy. We'll come back to you later, sir. Next up, I tore down the old apiary building. It felt good to see it go, honestly. Once that was out of the way, I flattened the ground around it and started shaping the area a bit more. Now that I have all of that broken down and a little bit of this cleared out, I'm going to go ahead and start on some of the terraforming for the cliffs around this. When I terraform, I have this little habit. As I'm building up the terrain, I also dig out underneath it to gather materials. It's efficient, sure, but it does mean every single one of my cliffs and mountains and anything I build ends up being completely hollow. Still, it saves me from strip mining some random plains biome 2,000 blocks to the north, so I call it a win. And besides, we're taking things slow in this world. No elytra, no shulkers. We haven't even opened the end yet, and we're like 4 months in? Me and Griffin are still pretty high on copium that 122 might finally give the end a proper update. So until 122 is announced, we're holding off. Which means for now, I walk everywhere, on foot, with just my inventory and maybe a mule or two to help carry the load. It's rough, but it makes the world feel a bit more grounded and connected. Okay, well, that's gone. So, I better hope I don't need more honeycomb in the future. At least, not until I have everything over here done. Even though I hadn't completely finished the terraforming yet, I really wanted to start placing some details just to get a feel for the space. So I outlined that little weird bean-shaped patch of dirt with some birch leaves and diorite walls. The idea was to try and break up the flatness because I know there's not a lot of terraforming on top of the cliffs, and start hinting at some greenery and actual life in the area. It's just a big blob, but I didn't want to see a big blob of dirt anymore. In addition to the bushes, I went ahead and lined the whole area with flowers, tall grass, and a few firefly bushes. That small bit of detail really brought it to life, especially at night. After getting all the bushes placed for the outdoor apiary, I added a few flowers and set down all the beehives. Every hive has a campfire tucked underneath, so I can harvest honey whenever I want without having to, deal with the bees trying to kill me. With that finished, I moved my chest aside so I could start laying out the village core. I want to build a couple small houses here, plus a main cafe or restaurant where I can store all of my food. Because Griffin never knows where I keep anything, and at this point, it's easier to just give the food a permanent home that is just a big house instead of a single barrel. I started on the first house right next to the path that leads uphill. I actually lost the footage for the little storage nook I built, but that's where I'll be keeping honeycomb. And right next to it is a spot where I'll be farming the honey itself. The farm is tucked inside the mountain, but it's going to be all hooked up with hoppers, so it should stay organized. Back to the house. This update added copper golems, and I hadn't used them yet, so I placed a few around the build site. I do need name ideas for them though, so if you have suggestions, feel free to comment. I'm hoping they'll help me keep my building materials somewhat sorted. After I managed to get myself unstuck from the chicken farm, don't ask, I moved on to build the restaurant. I wanted it to stand out immediately, so I gave it a green awning and plenty of open space around it for outdoor seating. It makes it feel more welcoming without being too cramped, and it gives the village a nice focal point. I added a cute little campfire outside as well, something pretty cozy to sit around. I think it gives everything a bit more of a warm feeling, like somewhere people would actually gather. After a quick detour extending the road out towards the western coastline, I jumped into the next building project. Nothing special, just a house, but every village needs places for people to live, so it felt right to make sure I added that in now. Once the house was built, I took a break to improve the surroundings and got building some birch trees. I immediately ran out of leaves, so I borrowed a hoe from Griffin, gathered a ton more leaves while we were watching a movie together, and kept building. We watched Catch Me If You Can, and yes, he insisted it wasn't a comedy. It absolutely is a comedy with some dark moments. I stand by that wholeheartedly, Griffin, and if you want to fight me, you can fight me. With some custom trees in place, I built a small little cow pen behind the restaurant and the houses to give the cows a place to be, because they were kind of in an ugly pen at first. And I had to look through the logs, but Griffin's happy gas crammed itself in the cows. So RIP Bovril 2025 to 2025, but he lasted a good few months, okay? I moved on to terraforming the cliffs on the west side of the village. That whole mountain range has a name, by the way. It's called Mount Crescent, since it's kind of in a crescent shape, sort of. Eventually, I wanted to feel ancient and mysterious, like there was a civilization before the people who live here now. But that's going to be a bigger project for a future video. For now though, it's just home to my very questionable early game iron farm. It's not pretty, but it works, and someday I will replace it with something that isn't embarrassing and ugly to look at in the middle of all of our pretty builds. Like, it's centralized. After that, I built up the final building I did this video, and then did some interior decoration on the restaurant. I added a couple of stoves in the kitchen area and used iron bars to make these like vents or pipes or something. I'm not totally sure what they're supposed to be, but they look cool, so they're staying. I also went around with the Mini Heads data pack and added some cauldrons and barrels around for just that little bit of detail. And then me and Griffin decided to rehydrate some happy gas. Oh my god, you're so cute!
Oh,
Do you have the fresh
That was so
animations
fast.
pack on?
yes. This is nice.
Oh,
Oh,
I think I'm gonna keep him a baby for a while. Where are yours?
they're hatching.
Where's the name tag since you grabbed some?
I have them on me, and I have the Invel over here. So if you can,
He does not want to.
I think these are smiling too.
I think the lead's gonna break trying to bring him. They do not stay on leads that well. He's so slow. He's so cute. I love her. I love him. I don't know. What do you want to be? Oh. I think Goldie Boo's
That's
a
like-
she.
Yeah, that's right over here.
My baby girl! The animation broke on Artemis for a second. And that's everything for this episode. It was a bit rushed. I didn't get to build as much as I wanted since I'm flying out to visit Griffin next week and I'll be gone for almost 3 weeks. But going into 2026, I really want to take this series and my channel in general more seriously. I want to make videos that feel fuller, longer, more detailed, with more thought put into the builds and stories behind them. My goal right now is to put out at least 1 video every month. That right now is my minimum. If I can do more, that would be amazing, but I want that 1 solid video I'm proud of every month to be something I can rely on. Next year, I really want to commit to this YouTube thing. I want to grow, improve, and just give myself the time and space to make the kind of content I've always wanted to make. I'm a very busy person. I work full-time, or at least I was until my hours got cut at Wawa. So I woke up at 7 a.m. today when I get off work at 10:30 p.m. just to finish this video. Because even if life gets busy and if things change, I want 2026 to be the year I actually focus on building something for myself. Because whenever I make videos, I think of 7-year-old me sitting in a room where the only furniture was a mattress, absorbed in videos by LD Shadow Lady, Tobuscus, and Aya's Cupquake. I hope someday I can be that for someone else. That's the heart of why I want to keep doing this. Anyways, I'll see you in the new year. Have a good one.
I mean, police at this
He
time
has
were
the
not
finger
trained.
on the fucking trigger!
Yeah, but it's realistic with policemen this time. He's actually doing a fantastic job acting.